Hello and welcome back. In this next video, I want to go ahead and add in a custom player for you guys to use. I have downloaded the female elementalist from Arteria 3D. You can use any one for this video. If you go out to the asset store, there are several free ones out there that you'll be able to use. One of the things though that I want to point out in this video is if you take a closer look at the animation names, you'll see that they're not the standard animation names that Orc traditionally uses, and I've done that intentionally to show you how to set these up. So one of the things is even though we have a walk animation, it's a capital W as opposed to a lowercase w, and also the same thing with run. Also in this one, an idle is listed as pose. And if you take a close look, we don't have attack, and that's because we have several different attacks. We have combat mode A, combat mode B, along with some of the spell casts. So I want to go ahead and set these all up and show you how to do that in this video, and then in the next video we'll look at actually putting the character into our game. So the first thing we're going to do is, after you load up your character into Unity, we'll head over to the Orc framework, and we'll go to base control and we'll go to animation types. So right now if you take a look at it, you'll see all the default animation types that come with Orc. I am using the full version. If you're using the demo, I believe you can have 5 more. I think there's a limit to 20 if I remember correctly. So if you don't have some, you can go ahead and delete these, and you're going to add them back in anyway. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add in my first animation, which will be the walk cycle. So I have to do an add. Come over here and put a new name. Now what I want to do to keep my names separate is I want to just put in fem first for female elementalist, and then I'll put in my walk, so that way I know it's my walk cycle. Also under my walk type, under default animations, I'm going to change it to my new one. You can override these later, but since I'm going to be using this character throughout my game, I'm going to leave them in here as default. Later on I might actually go ahead and delete these out, but for right now I'll just leave them in. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my next one, which will be my run animation. So what you want to do at this point now is you want to go ahead and just click add and come in and put the name in. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pause the video right now, and I'm going to go back over here and pick up all the animation names that I want to use, and I'm going to set them up with the exact same name that I have here with the prefix of fem, so that way I'm just know exactly which animation I'm going to be calling later on. So if you want to take time now to pause the video and go ahead and load up all your animations, that'd be good. Alright, coming back, I just put in a couple animations so we can keep moving along. If you take notice though, it is in a slightly different order because I closed down the Orc framework before I hit save, and I lost all my changes. So make sure that you do hit your save changes and you confirm your save changes before you close down the Orc framework so you don't lose them. So now that we have our animations loaded, I close that, let's go back in. We're going to go ahead and set up the actual animations. So what I want to do here is I want to add another group of animations. So I'm going to hit add, and I want to just label this as fem, so that way I know it's my female elementalist group. Now all of my animations are legacy, so I'm going to do an add legacy animation, and I'm going to come in here, I'm going to pick my fem stuff. So I'm going to pick fem pose, and now the animation name I need to have exactly the same as the animation name over here. So my idle is pose, and it's all capital letters. Capitalization, I believe, makes a difference, so I'm going to put in exactly the way it is. Now, I sometimes get confused on, do I want to set the layer, and if I do, which layer? So I'll pop back up to the default once in a while and look at my idle animation layer is a -1. So if you ever forget, you can just pop back up to default and use the same stuff they have there. Now if you take a look, once we go to the walk, the animation layer goes to 0. So I'll come in and add another one for my walk. Now I got walk with a capital W. We'll set the layer, and animation layer is already 0. We'll come in and add in the run. And I want to add in one more. which is going to be my attack animation. Now if you remember, I don't have an actual attack, I have many of them, so I'm going to use the staff hit attack. And I'm going to come back over here and make sure I get the exact name correctly. So it's staff hit, and it's camel case. So at this point we'll go ahead and save everything up. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we got our animation type set up, we got an animation set up. Now we want to go over to our combatants and come down to our combatant. And we're going to add a new one. Now the name here that we put in here is going to be the name that actually gets displayed in the game. So when you have interactions with NPCs, this is going to be the name that they actually see. So initially I used something like main player, so that way I knew this was my main player, and then realized that I should actually have it set to the name of the character I want. So I'm going to just put in my own name that I use everywhere in the world, which is Cabaltic, and I'll go ahead and actually change that for the actual game. The next thing we want to do is select our prefab. So I'm going to come in and select the Fem, Elementalist, and new is my prefab. It has the extension. If you take a look, that one's the FBX. So that's the one I want. The next thing, I'm not going to worry about most of these other settings for right now. We'll get into them in other videos, but we want to set our animations up. So we're going to come to basically the bottom, scroll back up a little bit, and you'll see animation settings. You can click on this and see the different choices. I'm using Legacy. You may not be for the type of character that you downloaded. The next thing we want to look at is the animations, and if you click on it, you'll see the group of animations that we made, and we want to use that Fem group that we had. Now we have used battle, so if we're in a battle, it'll use different animations based upon what we set up. Now I didn't set up any specific battle animations, but what I did do is set up my attack animations under my Fem group. So I'm going to select my Fem group again, and this will use the Fem group animations. Since at this point I really don't care that they're not battle specific, my idle's not going to make a difference, my walk's not going to make a difference. It's going to be the same regardless if it's battle or not. My attack animation is what I'm worried about, and since I put it under the Fem group, I'm going to use it here. I could have just as easily came back here and made a Fem battle group, such as they did in Orc, and set up different animations. But for the purpose of this video, and I'm only using one attack animation at this point, there was no point in me setting up a whole another system, but that's how you would go ahead and do it to set up the battle system, and we'll probably actually get a video of that later on down the road when we get into battles. Now after hours and hours of agony, I realized that I need to check this box, use auto animation. If your animations aren't playing after you get everything set up, come back and make sure that this box is checked. I'm going to leave everything here as default, and at this point I'm going to leave our walk speed and our run speed and our sprint speed as the default values that we have here. One of the things we're going to do in a little bit is we're going to take an actual look at the playing of the animation versus the speed that the character is moving, to make sure that the animation plays at the same speed that our character moves. Because it would look really funny to have a walk cycle when our character is running through the scene, or vice versa, that they got a really fast running animation and they're walking. So this is where we're going to come in and change some of our default values on our walk speed and our run speed, to make sure that, like I said, the movement across the screen matches the speed of our animation. So we'll go ahead and save everything that we did and confirm it. So now at this point we got everything saved and we got our animations set up on our combatant. Now the one thing though is we don't know exactly how they are going to look. We haven't tweaked them and we haven't done anything yet. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick look. Now at this point I haven't shown you guys how to set up the character spawning. I do have it set up on mine because I was doing a lot of testing. So we'll go through and do a quick look at it for right now, and then our next video I'll go in and show you how to set this up. So if you take a look, I'm spawning the wrong character. So what I gotta do is I gotta go in and change and spawn the correct character. So under my menu settings, oh no, I want to go to my events. I want to open my game event, and player start is mine, and I'm going to come into here and I'm going to select my new Baltic. Sorry about that, I had that set up for the another character that I forgot about. So we'll go ahead and give it a try again. Now we see our correct character, and you can see that they have animations playing. Now the one thing is from a distance the animations look pretty good, but I'm going to move around. The one thing I can see is that I'm very high off the ground, and so for right now I'm going to stop the video, and in our next video we'll go ahead and correct the height of the animations. Alright, so we'll go ahead and stop the video here, and in our next video we'll go ahead and I'll show you how to drop in the character, and then we'll go ahead and tweak some of the animations in that video. So thank you for watching.